the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield on this Wednesday, March 20th. Josh, I forgot to ask you on yesterday's show, did you watch the Knicks beat the Warriors on Monday night?
I didn't watch the Knicks beat the Warriors.
Because the Warriors just got a big win over the Lakers, right?
Yeah, they did. And there was like all the shot clock issues.
Oh, yeah, the shot clock
So there were all the stoppages, and LeBron was just sick of it by the end.
Apparently went over to the commentators and was like, I'm too old for this shit. Yeah.
Did you see... Oh, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no,
Tell me about the
you got it. You got to go.
Well, I was just going to say, I read a report that there are all sorts of NBA execs who are thinking about drafting Bronny James because they think it gives him the best chance of getting LeBron in his last couple of years.
I mean, they're probably not wrong.
No, they're probably not.
The question
is Bronny.
Is it really worth it? I mean, maybe it is worth it. Like, if you sign him to a 2-year deal, even if he isn't that good on the basketball court, I'm talking about LeBron right now.
Right.
Because he'll still sell so many tickets that it's like worth it from a business perspective.
Sure. No, I mean, I think that's the case. And he's still playing like decent basketball.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, what happened with the Knicks and the Warriors though?
No, I mean, just the Knicks, I'm just hyped on my squad. That's all. I'm
just hyped on your squad.
Anunoby was out again, and we just went in there and we took the lead in the first 5 minutes of the game. Josh Hart played literally 48 minutes, did not ever take a break, and we never let them back into the game, and it was awesome. People need to be ready for these Knicks in this playoffs. I'm telling you,
Charlie. You can say what you want, but the Celtics are going to win it all.
I mean,
no one is touching.
Let's not worry about that until we cross that bridge.
However, if you want to talk about teams that you should be happy about, how about Blake Snell going to your Giants?
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
The Giants have wrapped up now an amazing offseason where all of a sudden it's okay, this is a playoff team. This could be a playoff team. And, we weren't supposed to win the division and beat the Dodgers 2-3 years ago whenever we did it. And this roster's way better than that roster. So
is their roster though. Because they signed
Ohtani's not pitching.
Ohtani's not pitching. You got a chance. I think you got a better chance of beating the Dodgers than you got a better chance of beating the Celtics.
Yeah, that's probably true because it's baseball. All right. Let's dig into the show. First things first, we got to talk about Scoggins and some record-setting performances from her this weekend. She shot the top 10, I believe top 5, tied for 5th
top 5,
all-time.
Tied for 5th with Kristen's European Disc Golf Championships round last season,
1055 rated second round, and then continued on to shoot the highest ever round rating for an entire tournament, average round rating that is, in the FPO division. She ultimately beats Kristen by 11 strokes. And that, by the way, was a Kristen Tattar who shot 1,000 rated on the weekend, Josh.
Yeah.
Own was on another level this weekend.
For reference, Own's margin of win over Kristen would have been good enough to beat Missy Gannon in 3rd place.
That's wild. I think I saw, and we can easily confirm, if Own had shot even par, she would have won the tournament in the final round.
Yep.
Unreal.
Yeah. A spectacular round. Charlie, I recall during a draft that may have happened on this podcast that I was told that picking Own was a bad pick because she was too old and she wasn't going to play all that well and she's got to regress sometime.
I got to be honest with you. Just looking back at the draft board real quick and taking a look at my picks and, where everybody ended up landing, I am just not loving my FPO lineup. I have Haley King, Paige Pierce, Ella Hansen, Allie Smith, and Hannah Blomroos.
That's tough.
That's not really what you're looking for.
Paige not playing great.
I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Jamie's isn't great either. Yours is unbelievable. But you took FPO players in your first 3 picks, so
I did.
Not a surprise, but you have Kristen, Own, Missy, Catmerch, and Katrina. And even the Katrina pick, she played pretty good this weekend. She got her first top 10 in a long time.
And now that we know about the pregnancy announcement, I mean, I think it's obvious who's going to get waived on my team.
Well, probably. Did you really get Nicholas Antila with your 10th overall pick?
With the final pick, Nicholas Antila is Mr. Irrelevant in our draft.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I've got Kyle Klein and Nicholas Antila. Loving that 2 out of 3 over there on the Discmania.
I'm still feeling pretty good about my MPO. Calvin, Ricky, Eagle, Ezra Robinson, and AB.
Oh, yeah. Great MPO.
AB in the 8th round? What were we thinking?
I was thinking that I'm taking Chris Doan and Missy 1, 2, and 3.
This is wild. Anyway, we'll check back in on the draft soon enough. But man, oh man, I mean, it was uninteresting. Like by the time we got to the lightning delay in the final round, I was like, I don't even care if they restart. I'm not watching anymore. I don't need to see it.
Yeah,
there's nothing to see. And you know, it looked pretty much like Kristen was basically out of it after round 2 because she just took a terrible triple bogey.
That triple bogey ended the tournament.
What was that? I mean, that's the most un-Kristen. Like she never does stuff like that where she just like
I know
blunders her way through a hole and it kind of looks disinterested, and it was just a disaster of a hole.
Especially where she didn't like. I mean, there's OB on 18, and it's one thing if like, you know, you go OB and then you try and throw a hero shot and then you kick OB again. And, you know, now right. All of a sudden it's compounded really quick. She managed to take a triple bogey without going OB once.
It's hard to believe.
It really is.
But yeah, it was like first available twice and just very strange. But even if she had played that and gotten a berth, she wasn't going to beat Own this weekend. I don't care how she could have played her best game. She does not beat Own this weekend.
Yep.
She's never shot an average round rating as high as Own did this weekend. So like,
well, Charlie, that's because nobody has.
That's my point. That this is special stuff. And I don't know, like, how real is that? I mean, I think to an extent, like the combination of the OB in the woods and like the length of the course, like that had to contribute to this like super high round ratings for Own. But, you know, you still got to tip your cap and acknowledge that she was just carving up the fairways. Like I really don't understand how she's able to do it to some extent, where she's like throwing flex shots that are going like from the right side to the left side and then back to the right side with a forehand. And she's using all this width and she's throwing them in the woods and they like just goes around all the trees. It's incredible.
You know, it's also so interesting because Des Redding noted it. Like she like gets her wrist up above her shoulder almost when she throws them. Like they go real high, and so the disc gets, because that flex shot. The problem is that when you see a lot of like forehands, a lot of players are going down, right? Like think like, you know, when I think of like the sidearm pitcher, right, kind of thing, like goes real down and low and keeps those power shots really low and are driving it. Nate Sexton is an example of that. Anthony Barella, you know, they both, those power shots are really low, and hers comes so high because she needs the airspace to flex it. And so like it defies all conventional logic. It really, it looks like someone who is just like not comfortable or is just trying to get as much distance out of it as possible, but she has just deadly accuracy with it that makes it just such a remarkable throw that we may never see on tour again.
You know, one thing we really haven't considered about Own? She's just got that dog in her.
That's
like I know I'm sort of joking, but like also she does in fact have the dog.
Yeah.
She genuinely has just worked super, super, super hard to get to this level. As I pointed out in the Rapid Reacts on Sunday, which, you know, is I would say one of the best we've done in a long time. And if you sign up for a subscription, you can go back and listen to it. She's playing her literal best disc golf right now. Her rating has never been higher. And for her to do that at her age is just, it's spectacular stuff. And it's like pure effort. Putting for hours, practicing, like coming back from the injury. I think somebody posted in the Discord while we were doing it. It's like, let's be honest. Own is tiny, old, and broken. And she just shot the greatest tournament of all time in FPO.
It's so true. It's so true. And I think what's so interesting is, we talk about her forehand, but think about everything about Owen's game defies coaching logic these days. She relies on a flex shot, both on backhand and forehand. She throws discs that everyone would tell, like any other player of her arm speed and power, that they're too overstable for her. She putts, like her putts look like a duck the way they waddle coming out of her hand.
They waddle directly into the chains.
Everything about Owen's game is unconventional, and it's amazing, and it's great. And I think you're right. I mean, it's just kind of, it makes me think on the MPO side, and to a whole nother level. Makes me think of Matty O, right? Who has said before, someone asked him about his form, and he said, nobody ever should copy my form because he knows it's bad, but he's done it for so long and developed it into such a consistent game that it works for him. And that's the same thing with Owen. Her form is not conventionally good, but she works so hard. She spent so much time honing it in that she has a masterful control over it. And so she's able to play just incredible disc golf.
22 strokes gained tee to green. That was better than Henna, and it was 8 strokes better than Missy, who was in third place in that category. Just crazy. Like this was not Owen putting perfect to win a tournament by a nose. It was Owen like putting fantastic from circle 2, to be fair.
Right.
Kind of modest from C1 by her standards, 74%, which is very good for FPO, but not, it's like below her average, honestly. But she just literally, she couldn't have played better in the fairways and off the tee. It was awesome. And it's funny because it's like there's almost nothing else to talk about from this tournament except Kristen still alive for becoming the first woman to 1,000 rated.
Yep.
She made up for a horrendous round 2 with a good round 3 and got back to that 1,000 rated on the weekend. Missy Gannon looked good, but like they looked good. It's just like Owen. The Challenger Committee is starting to amp up a little bit and say, you know what, one of us is going to pop off, and like that's going to be a challenge for Kristen if that keeps happening.
The other, as something that we talked about a little bit a couple weeks ago, this now only marks the 3rd occasion that Kristen has shot 1,000 rated and still gotten beat. That includes MVP when Haley King beat her, Throw Pink when Holland Hanley beat her, and now Open at Austin, Owen Scoggins. So 3 times now Kristen's shot 1,000 rated. And that, if that starts happening with more regularity, which I mean, here's the thing. It's going to have to start happening with more regularity or Kristen's going to win everything. Because on her off weeks, when she shot a 969 rated round 2, terrible round, she makes it up with a 1027, gets back to 1,000 rated.
Yep.
You have to shoot 1,000 rated if you want to win an FPO when Kristen is around.
That's exactly right. This was like very middling Kristen performance, and it was still 1,000 rated. Hannah Blomroos, average putt length on makes 8.4 feet, minus 9.5 strokes gained in circle 1. She went 10 for 28 for 36%. Josh, it was worse than the stats. It was unwatchable. It was like mute and turn away. It was like a gory scene in a horror movie. I'm serious. It was bad.
I know. I'm laughing because I'm wondering if you got more.
No, that's it.
You wanted to keep going.
That was funny.
Okay. Never before have I seen a player where if they can't touch the basket with their hand, I am not convinced they will make a putt.
That's just
like,
jeez.
There were 10 feet she would miss. And if she couldn't touch a basket, I wasn't sure. It was, she still finished tied for 4th. So, how's that supposed to make everyone else feel?
I was modestly encouraged by Missy Gannon's performance this weekend. Finishes in 3rd, obviously way off the lead, but
Sure.
that is what it is. But, a solid strokes gain tee to green performance. She actually outplayed Kristen tee to green. And kind of the story is that her putting was just a little weak. She was only 60% C1. She missed a lot of putts low off the cage. She only went 3 for 15 from circle 2. I think if she can pick up the putting, she looks like she's in a position to continue to play really well and be a top player on tour. Not that that's any kind of surprise, just that I feel like she's been a little quiet to start the season.
I agree. I think the problem, though, right now for Missy, and actually something that, in my opinion, should be kind of a real concern, is I feel like there have been tournaments of late where her putting has been the thing that's holding her back.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue with that is that you have players like Missy used to be the Kristen Light, right? Like she used to be the one who's also ultra consistent and was able to do everything really well, but never really, blew anything out of the water. But the problem is that if Missy's putting in C1X last season, according to UDisc, is 79% from C1X.
Yeah, which is very good.
Very good.
I mean,
Circle 2, 14%.
basically second among touring players.
Mm-hmm.
All of the players above her, there was Owen Scoggins at number 1, and then a number of European players, including Silva Saarinen and Tele Tuomsalu, who played a decent amount on tour, but the other two are not touring players.
Yeah, not the same. But I think this is now a couple tournaments. We don't have a cumulative stats page yet on PDGA Live, do we?
Unfortunately, we don't. But we can actually just look up the stats.
Let's pull it. Okay.
From PDGA Live. I'll work on it.
Okay, I'll pull chess.com.
All right. She was 60. So like I said, she was 60% at Open at Austin.
Yep. Around 80%, I would say. So she was near her average. 85% probably in chess.com.
Oh, you can do it. There's an all stats button there. She was 85%.
Oh, yep, there it is. Okay.
Which is above her average.
That is above her average. Yeah. Oh, that's at Waco?
Now, that was chess.com. For some reason, I can't find, when I type in Waco into the search box, it doesn't come up.
Why? When I click all stats, it only shows me round 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Look, we're not at 100% yet on this stuff, folks. We don't have a season stats page yet. The Pro Tour keeps promising these things, and they say, well, we'll have it for the next tournament. And now we're 3 tournaments in, and it's still not here. So,
I don't know. It feels to me like that Missy's putting is what's holding her back.
I get that, because I feel like you will watch a round with Missy, and she'll just miss a bunch of putts low.
Yeah.
And so I understand. I think the thing is, the data actually says otherwise for the most part, but hard to not see what happened this weekend and be like, yeah, the putting's an issue. The thing is, she's still finishing 3rd despite that.
She is. But the difference is she going to finish? The problem is that her putting at this level is going to allow her to finish 3rd, but she's never going to, she's only going to win if other players play down at her level. If she wants to take tournaments like Ledgestone, which she's done a couple years now, she's really going to have to get that putting dialed in again, because I think that's something that was able to set her apart.
I guess
she does everything really well. Putting was above average.
My point is, I believe that she will get there because she has been consistently a very strong Circle 1 putter. I would love to see her Circle 2 putting rise up a level or two, because she's more average in that category, whereas she's like an elite Circle 1 putter historically.
Right.
So it always comes and goes. All right. What more is there to say about Owen? I mean, the thing is, I don't want to not say this just because I think it's obvious. She's won on tour once before. She did last year, but Kristen wasn't there.
Yep.
And so, yeah, sure, she shot 1,000 rated at D-Glow, but it just kind of felt asterisked because the best player wasn't there. There is no more asterisk here. This was a straight up complete performance against 1,000 rated Kristen Tattar. So, shout out to Owen. I don't know how long she's going to keep doing this, but you got to just continue to pick her on the podium, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the other thing. She can win on any course. When she won at D-Glow, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like you have no excuse left for Own. D-Glow is not a short course.
It's not.
So, one last thing. I really want to give some credit, as much credit as possible to Own. She led the field in the following statistics. Birdie percent at 59%, fairway percent 87%, parked 24%, circle 2 in regulation at 78%, circle 2 putting 39%, strokes gained TD green at 22.31, and strokes gained C2 4.75.
Sick. So sick.
Dominated the field, top to bottom.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time to look ahead to, we're going to take the state of the FPO division after a month. As we head into the first major of the season, the U.S. Women's Championship, we'll preview that as well. We'll make our picks. Stay with us. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. You can save $50 right now on the remaining inventory of 2023 Ambassador Octothorpes. So you can get the Ella Hansen. It's a charcoal and black with saffron zippers and purple accents, or you can get the Casey White bag, a multicam Alpine and black with black zippers and Optifade camo web. I don't even know what Optifade camo web is, but it sounds pretty sweet. So you can save $50 on those right now while supplies last. Pound manufactures everything in the Pacific Northwest USA with the industry's highest quality standard. Pound is the only bag company with an in-house warranty and repair department that will ensure your pack stays on the course and out of the landfill. Check out all the options at PoundDiscGolf.com. The Upshot is presented by Sunset Lake CBD, which is a farm that originally started as a dairy farm producing milk and cream for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. But back in 2019, they diversified to keep up with the times and started growing hemp for CBD. And you got to check this stuff out. Not only do they use all organic fertilizers and sustainable farming techniques, but the quality of the product is awesome. They sent me a box of things, and I got the sleep gummies, which have CBD and a little bit of melatonin. I was having a hard time sleeping a couple nights. Baby was crying a lot. And so I took one of these, and wow, fantastic night of sleep. I felt great the next day. No like weird hangover effects or anything like that. So check it out. Go to sunsetlakecbd.com and get in touch with them. If you need to, you can reach out to their customer support folks and you'll talk to a real person. So no AI or any nonsense like that. And they'll help you find a product that fits your needs. Welcome back to the Upshot. I wanted to take stock, Josh, of where things kind of are after a month in the FPO division. I got to be honest, it's just simply not as interesting as MPO. It's a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Let me give you the top five. First, I'll give you last season. Just refresher. Not that anybody really needs it, but Kristen, number 1. Missy Gannon, number 2. Owen Scoggins, 3rd. Holland Handley, 4th. Ella Hansen, 5th. Here's where we are at the start of this season. Owen Scoggins, number 1. Evelina Salonen, number 2. Missy Gannon, number 3. Kristen Tattar, number 4. By the way, she did not play one of the events. And Holland Handley, number 5. Now, if I were going to bet money, I would probably bet on 4 of last year's 5 being in the top 5 again this year. And like, it's going to be Kristen at the top at the end of the season. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah.
And maybe Owen goes to number 2 and Missy to number 3. Too early to say, but
I think
it's possible.
I think the 4, 5, 6 line of Handley, Salonen, and Hansen.
I got to be honest. The 5 players in the top right now are the 5 most impressive players on tour right now.
Yeah, I mean they are, and you know Ella Hansen sitting down at 8th after a pretty poor performance last weekend at Open at Austin, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her back up there.
Friendlier courses are coming her way.
Yeah. So, it really is. It's a lot of the same things, and that it's interesting to me how what is interesting to me is how fast things have gotten right back to where they are. I mean, no, no winners that we really didn't expect. Evelina, I mean, obviously has a great weekend. Putt's great, and that was the difference. But we always knew that if she cleaned up the putting, everything was going to be fixed. and so it's really been just kind of business as usual over here on the FPO side.
I don't want to worry you too much, Josh, but it opened at Austin. Evelina was 59% C1X, 10% C2. So we're not out of the woods.
We're not out of the woods. What did I say we did when we did our line in the sand episode? I said, I want to go back to what we said here.
Yeah, Josh, I remember you said that she had to putt consistently well through US Women's. And I said I would take one tournament earlier. And if she putts consistently well for the first 3 events, we're smooth sailing. We're good to go from here on out.
She didn't make it.
Didn't make it past the line in the sand.
We're back. We're still a little worried.
Jeez. But other than that, sure, Hanley still looks like she's got potential to win a tournament or 2 this year.
Yep.
I think Missy's going to win a tournament or 2 this year. Obviously, Owen's already got one in the pocket. I won't be shocked if Evelina wins another one, but Kristen's still going to win 50+% of the tournaments.
Yep.
And for me, that's going to start this weekend with a bounce back performance at US Women's, which, by the way, was the last FPO major last season, and Kristen's weakest performance at a major. It was the closest battle. I mean, it was actually in question in the final round rather than being a victory lap.
Yes, Kristen, and I guess at Worlds last year. I mean, Missy kind of kept it close at Worlds. Final round at Worlds was still interesting.
It was still interesting.
Yeah, I tuned in
9 holes or so. enough to watch.
Right.
The other 2, it was done.
Yeah, European Open.
God.
Oh man. Yeah. So we got U.S. Women's coming up this weekend.
Yes, we do. It's here. As usual, it kind of feels like it's lacks a little of the fanfare of the other majors, and I have a hard time pinpointing why that is. I mean, it's not really a Pro Tour owned event because it's a PDGA major, and I like that it's on its own weekend, so there's no MPO tournament to kind of be distracting. We just get to watch the U.S. Women's, but players are. In the Ulti World Disc Golf Discord, we're hearing about caddy books weren't ready on time, and they're changing stuff still, and I don't really know exactly when the expectation should be for everything to be ready to go and feel like the PDGA is doing the proper amount of promotion and that we're able to follow along with everything and get excited about it. But part of it is that we've had back-to-back tournaments. And so it's then we're going right into the next one. I don't know. It just, unfortunately, this tournament suffers from a lack of buzz every single season. And that doesn't mean it doesn't deliver. I thought last year's tournament was quite good, but it's not the fanfare that we get at Winthrop. It's just not.
I mean, the other problem with it too is just getting it jammed in like that. I mean, the FPO players are going to be playing 4 weeks straight with no break.
That's true.
Do you know how fast Paul Macbeth would be on Instagram complaining about that if they did it to the MPO players?
Part of that is because they have this extra event.
I know.
That's got to go somewhere. And if it's going to be in Texas, then you have to build around it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you know my position on this. Make Throw Pink the championship. Make this still have this event. Make a spot in the weekend for this event for the FPO players to go be a part of, and in some way incentivize that. Make it a big prize for the FPO champion, right? And a lot of money or something. Get a sponsor who gives an extra 5 or 10 grand that just goes to the winner, and really make it worth their while to come out and play, but don't make it a major.
Well, it is a major, so off we go. It is. I'm interested because this is going to be played on a brand new course.
Yep.
It's called Sprinkle Valley, and it was designed by Mike Olsey, Austin local, and it was just put in. They basically put it in at the end of last year. We kind of knew this was coming because when they put in the bid, they said we're going to build this course. So It's at a brewery / the Mint Discs retail shop. So here's how it's described by Justin Westfall in the preview on Ultra World Disc Golf. Mostly wooded and features some OB lines when players do get out into more open space on the back nine. The course sets up an exciting finish starting with hole 17, a 280-foot par 3 with an island green that players must make, otherwise proceeding to a drop zone well back of the pin. Hole 18 is a nearly 800-foot par 5 that requires players to tee off from out-of-bounds territory. Bigger arms could push for an eagle look, but the landing zone gets much narrower when trying to push that far down the fairway. Whether in the woods or out in the open, keeping the disc in the fairway will be essential to scoring low. It's a 8,315-foot par 65, Josh.
It sounds exciting. I think that the U.S. Women's has done a pretty good job of picking courses that are technical and appropriate for distance, kind of a mix of whether or not the distance is kind of a big factor or not, but it's been appropriate for U.S. Women's. And that's one thing that I think really the U.S. Women's Tournament has deserved some credit for over the past couple of seasons, is that they've really picked some great courses to showcase the FPO game. And I really hope that this continues that theme. Looking over the caddy book, I think it will. It looks like it's going to be exciting. Over on the forecast side, Charlie, there is a chance that we are dealing with thunderstorms again. Thursday has a 60% chance of rain with scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. Friday and Saturday, though, looking pretty nice, partly cloudy, but in the upper mid 70s. Sunday, winds of up to 25 miles per hour.
Spicy.
It might be spicy.
Now, here's the good news, right? Weather's a lot easier to deal with when you have a 4-day tournament and you're only playing with one division. Because
both are true.
Obviously there's lots of divisions playing at this event, but most of them are happening on other courses. Mm-hmm. So it will be straightforward enough, I think, to get all the FPO action in. But yeah, windy Sunday, that could put a little bit of extra pressure on players.
Love that.
So hopefully things are tight on the leaderboard as we head into that. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see this course. I mean, there's not really much in the way of, whole previews and such out there. But I'm looking forward to seeing, what a sort of like modern FPO, like they built this with FPO in mind, right? They knew they were doing this tournament, and we just don't really get courses built like that.
That's true.
So I kind of love that because I think it's going to make it more interesting. Kristen, with a win, would get her 7th career major. That would tie her for 3rd all time with Elaine King, Des Redding, and Katrina Allen. But to put that into perspective, right? Kristen could become solo 3rd all time behind Paige Pierce and Valerie Jenkins with just 2 major wins this season. And odds are that she's going to win 2.
Yeah. That's
right. The over under is probably 2.5.
Yeah, right. That's such an incredible stat because it really, Kristen won U.S. Women's back in the pre-COVID time.
This was her first major win.
Correct. Yep.
Pre-COVID times.
2018?
Sometime back. I think it was 19.
19. Okay. So wins U.S. Women in 2019. And then in the matter of 2.5 seasons has put together enough to almost be 3rd all time. It has been a remarkable couple of seasons, and it really just doesn't feel like she's going to be slowing down at all.
We were just talking in the break there. You were like, there's no way she catches Paige. And I was like, okay, well, look, if Kristen wins 2 majors per year, starting this year for the next 5 seasons, not outlandish, right? I'm not saying 4.
Sure.
If she wins 2 per year, that puts her at 16, which ties Val Jenkins in as 1 shy of Pierce. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Would I bet on it? I probably wouldn't bet on it because of her age, but I wouldn't be shocked because she might win 3 this year, 3 the next year, and then 2, and then 2, and then 1, and then 1. And you're looking at the same story that she's gotten there.
That is exactly right. Or, because there's, if she gets 4, could she sweep again? Doesn't feel outlandish right now. No,
not when she's playing she's 999 rated,
mm-hmm.
and second highest rated is what, 984? I think is Own.
I think so.
So she's 15 ratings. She's 2 strokes better on average than Own in every round. And so when you add that up over longer tournaments, which the majors are, it's just her advantage compounds.
Yep.
And so I don't think I'm going to bet on her to sweep. I think if I was going to bet with you right now, if you want to place a bet, I'm happy to. Over under 3.5, and I'll take the under. I'm I think she's not going to win them all, but I still think she's going to win 3.
I say I would take the over on 2.5 though. I probably also just odds on would not take the over on a 3.5, but I would take the over on a 2.5.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
well,
you got to watch out.
Picking her, right? You picking her?
We are both picking her.
What do we have to watch out for?
Well, we've got to watch out for Scoggins coming into another shorter course, technical, through the woods.
Why can't she just do what she just did again? She could.
She absolutely could.
It would be her first FPO major.
Yep. She finished as runner-up in both FPO majors that she started and finished last season. Remember,
that's a good fact.
Did
she dropped out? She didn't play.
I don't. Well,
she dropped out of Worlds, right?
Dropped out of Worlds, and I don't think she went to Europe.
Right.
So, at U.S. Women's and Champions Cup, took second place. She could absolutely do it again.
So. I have her finishing second, by the way.
Hey, me too.
Let's go 3 for 3, Josh. I'm taking Missy Gannon.
I am not taking Missy Gannon.
Okay.
Give me Val Mondahano in third.
Wow.
Ready for this?
Okay,
all right.
But why?
Let me give you the but why.
Okay.
Number 1, we're still playing in Texas, which is her home state. I think that gives her an advantage, and just being able to play at home, less travel, gets to be around people. I mean, there are lots of things that go into that. Number 2, she hasn't played that poorly this season. She's got an 11th place finish over at Waco and a 9th place finish over at Open at Austin. So 2 solid finishes so far. But the part that really...
She was 23 shots behind Owen at Open at Austin. Just pointing that out.
Okay, yeah. And Kristen was 11 shots behind Owen at Open at Austin.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we still got her to win. So come on. Settle down over there, Charlie. But the part that really matters to me, Val is someone who can pop off. I mean, last season, even after the injury, it really felt like she was kind of slowing down, and we're like, oh man, she isn't playing great. And then she came out and won Idlewild.
That's true. It was out of nowhere.
When I think of a technical course that still requires and can give some advantage to distance, but does require a complete game, like that matches Idlewild to me on the FPO side. I like Val here. I think playing in Texas on a technical course that Val has demonstrated that she can win on in the past, that all screams a lot of positive things for me. Give me Val to take down the 3rd place.
Think about this.
Okay.
Chess.com, she finished 27th.
Yep.
Open at Austin, she finished 9th. 27 is 3 cubed. 9 is 3 squared. You know what 3 to the first is, Josh?
Is it 3, Charlie?
It's 3.
Look at that. Man, how crazy would that be?
Think about it.
What?
Just forget about the 11th place.
I was about to say, do you want to explain Waco to me? Yeah, so
1 plus 1 is 2. Is 3 squared.
Got it.
That's what I got for you. But yeah, no, I'm taking Missy. Give me I'm just taking the straight up. Give me the favorites.
The Josh draft.
Because this is the Josh draft.
I love that, Charlie. I love that you're picking your podium based on my top fantasy team. I love that.
Oh.
That just music to my ears.
It's not good. It's not good. So there you go.
Reminder for
action
everybody.
Starts tomorrow, by the way.
Correct.
Thursday.
Yep.
Reminder.
Majors are worth double this season compared to Elite Series. These are big ones. Only the top 2 will count, but it will be worth double at 200 points. So very valuable when it comes to Disc Golf Pro Tour standings. Glad we talked about kind of this top 5 standings right now, because whoever wins this tournament will be number 1 next week. Almost certainly.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, unless it's a total shocker,
sure,
which is basically impossible. I think that's accurate.
Yeah,
and I think Kristen has a pretty good chance of getting up to number 1, even if she doesn't win, unless she's beaten by Own.
Unless she's beaten by someone who's ahead of her.
Right. I guess that's straightforward math. So we will tune in to find out. And we'll be back with the reacts on Sunday. There's a chance, if things are really interesting, that we might do a reacts at the midway point after round 2, which would be on Friday night. But don't count on that. But get yourself a subscription today, discgolf.ultraworld.com/subscribe, and you'll get all of the live rapid reacts and all the archives, access to the Discord, and more. I'm looking forward to U.S. Women's. And then next week we've got we're straight into another Elite Series. We got Texas State's coming up, so we're in a heavy stretch here. That is going to do it for today's show. And so for Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood signing off and saying so long, and we'll talk to you next week right here on the Upshot.